Good evening, everyone. You are watching Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing talk show. My name is Christian Karasevich, CEO and founder of socialchefs.com. And we have an amazing show for you today. I'm going to bring on my co-host, Nick Rishwain, and we're going to get started with this week's updates. Good evening, Nick. How are you doing?
Hey, Christian, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thanks for getting this thing started. I see we got some folks here already. Mo Lilienthal is with us. Bernard Nomberg's with us. It looks like Scott Michael Shannon would like us to check out his page already. So maybe somebody already selling us something in the comments, which is nice.
Yes.
So we got a good show for you. Probably a short show for you today. We got 4 topics, and we've got a returning guest, Moshe Isaacian, who is a friend from down in Southern California, who is our young, very sharp social media marketer from Southern California, from Los Angeles, I believe. And he's had some pretty good career moves happen from what I've seen on Facebook since I last saw him. I know you and Moshe ran the show without me for a week when I was out ill. So, but I think he just jumped into a new position. Should we bring him on and reintroduce him to folks?
Yeah, let's bring him on. And I want to hear what he's up to.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how you been?
Good. How you doing, Moshe?
Hey,
Doing
Moshe.
pretty well. How's things with you?
Doing great.
Well. I was just talking to Christian, Moshe, since the last time I saw you, which I guess has been about 3 months. I think you've had some pretty exciting career changes, right?
Yeah, I've been an account coordinator at a marketing agency, and I've been kind of contributing to a social media website. So that's been social media today, and that's been kind of interesting. Trying to figure out the marketing work a little bit, maybe go into advertising. I'm kind of starting to lean more into what really makes good ads tick. Kind of like the fundamental of brand values and so on. So we'll see what happens in that kind of realm.
Cool. That's great. That's I mean, I know you've made some moves since you were an initial guest, so it's always nice to see when there's an update on your Facebook page or LinkedIn or anything like that.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's good to see young folks doing well, man. It's really good to see. Any updates on your own personal stuff that people should know about? Where to find you, things like that, on Twitter? Anything that you're doing personally that they should be following?
I'm mostly on Twitter right now. Just if you want to follow me at Moshe Isaacian, keeping up with the latest trends, kind of commenting on a little bit more of pop culture now too. I'm kind of seeing what's happening in the movie realm. I've been watching a lot of Marvel recently, and I love what they're doing with their marketing. Netflix too. I mean, they've just kind of taken over the airwaves recently. It's ridiculous. So yeah, that's the only place at the moment. If you ever want to talk to me, check me out. That's where I got my start.
Excellent. So,
and we
Christian,
just dropped the link.
Any updates from across the pond, Christian? Although you're further than across the pond.
No updates here. Actually, just want to let everybody know we value you for taking the time to watch the show with us. And if you have questions or comments, please leave those in the chat. In the chat of this post, we'll make sure we get to those. And I want to just thank everybody for tuning in. And if you want to help us out, we'd appreciate it if you just hit that share button, share it out, invite your friends to come watch, because that's what makes a lot of videos so much more engaging. It's not just about us telling you the information, but also engaging with you, answering your questions. So I want to thank everybody.
Yes, thank you very much. Thanks, Mo and Bernard, for being here. Appreciate that. Let's jump right in, because we've had there's been a lot of stories today, and there's been, in fact, it's funny that our first article for tonight comes from CNBC, and it's about Facebook planning a more direct assault on YouTube. And I think this is funny, Facebook, in the CNBC article today, because and actually I think this article is a couple of days old, but social media, while the stock market has been just falling terribly this week, with at least 2 days where it dropped below 1,000, the Dow dropped below 1,000. Social media stocks have done really well. So we don't usually pull stories from CNBC. So it was just sort of funny when I saw this today. It made me think about what has been going on in the market. So
Yes.
This story is Facebook talking about expanding its TV-like service, which is Facebook Watch, into a rival to Google's YouTube by opening the platform to more individual creators, according to several people familiar with the plans. This would increase the amount of long-form video content that Facebook can sell ads against, and could reverse a decline in the time users are spending on the site, which was something we, I think, just learned out last week or the week before, Christian, that they actually had a decrease in the number of daily active users on Facebook. Facebook wants to allow more people to create their own shows on Watch, according to 3 media agencies who asked to remain private or anonymous at this time. Instead of buying rights to these shows, however, Facebook wants to create a system where creators can upload their shows for free, then earn a cut of the revenue from ads placed on that content, similar to how YouTube pays its online creators. Another source with knowledge of the situation said Facebook's ultimate goal is to create a sustainable ad-supported video platform where it won't have to pay for the majority of content. Creators are hungry for other video platforms and can earn them more revenue after YouTube made it harder to earn advertising money on its platform. Amazon has also talked to advertising agencies about creating more ad-supported video initiatives. Moshe, what are your thoughts on this? I got to tell you, I have to be honest, and maybe people in the comments can let us know. Have you watched anything on Facebook Watch? Because I have not. I
think I watched Make Up or Break Up. It was like an interactive kind of chat show where people you would help people kind of break up or make up really live on TV. So that was kind of interesting. But now that you mentioned that Facebook is trying to go for this move on kind of taking on YouTube, I have noticed something inside my feed. Maybe other people will see it. Is that videos like you and I upload normal videos have been kind of labeled as episodes. I don't know why, but now it's just starting to connect to me. Like Facebook's been kind of prompting me to follow friends or pages and start to label their videos as episodes. I think that's what it's going to try to do, is like any video that you're going to upload now will become part of your channel, and anything, it'll be called an episode of what you've, of what you got. Maybe you can put it into a recurring playlist or a set. So I can see this move kind of happening naturally. It won't be very jarring. In fact, that, if you're conditioning people now to get used to this whole episode format, that's what's going to happen moving forward. So I just want to see how much of a revenue cut they're going to give, because that's what's going to make people go from, moving to be YouTube stars to being Facebook stars, or even if such a thing is possible. Right.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on the percentage. Will it be worth people moving from one to the other, especially those who may have been making some money on YouTube and now they're not making money because YouTube upped the game a little bit. Christian, what are your thoughts on this?
I think that, for starters, this is just a really interesting thing going on, because I think that when I first saw this, I didn't think about the fact that, YouTube's changing their, monetization, the way they're letting people monetize their channel. But then I'm like, well, hey, that's actually smart if, Facebook, if they, conceivably go the same route that YouTube did and say, hey, you know what? You create your own channel, you develop your own monetization, opportunities there. But hey, we will provide, we'll provide a way for you to do that. I think it's smart for Facebook to do that. They're borrowing pages out of Snapchat's book, borrow YouTube's pages, give people, and this is actually smart of them, because like a lot of people considered YouTube as probably a primary source of revenue, and they don't actually have that now because of the requirements. So if you're a business, you want to get started with, Facebook Live, there's a cost to do that. There's a cost to get the equipment. There's a cost to spend your time doing this. So now if you can monetize your show, I think it makes a lot of sense. if they move towards that direction. And I think at the same time, the whole like watch a lot, the Facebook Watch piece, we've been doing episodes since day one. I mean, we're up to 125, but that's because we structure this around a show like that. So I think that it's smart for Facebook to actually then borrow a page out of Netflix's book and say, hey, you know what, we're going to create a system for people to be able to watch the shows that they want to watch regularly. And it's going to become, essentially the same thing that YouTube is, except it's within Facebook's platform, which I think is a little bit more robust because Facebook has, they have the whole social interaction piece already going on. YouTube doesn't really have that. You have to generate the comments and whatnot on your channel. So, if video is your thing, then, Facebook Watch is a good thing there. If they're not, it's not like they're cutting you out saying, well, hey, it's not really your network.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we'll see what happens on that front. I mean, until they kind of put this into place, you have to get people to get used to the format that, now you're going to be uploading videos and making money off of it. Are people really, going to watch the ads, or the ads, like now you got to open up the ad platform? I haven't really seen like the pre-roll ads become a thing.
Right.
Not a lot of people invest in it. So I'm still skeptical on this move. I can see it, definitely happening in the future, but nothing that's successful in my mind right now.
Yeah, but
I do. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that's, if you're out there and you're making content already on the platform, the way we've been doing and the way some of our guests or audience members have been doing, if you're in fact, Mo and I were just talking today about an idea that he had in a group that we're in. And, if it's one more way that you can bring in revenue because you turn it into a daily show or, educational format or informative type of show, and then you can place ads in them, I'm not saying that you're going to get rich off of it, like maybe some of the YouTube creators who really make it their sole purpose of creating the video, but I think it could be, for small businesses, it might be another source of revenue in the future.
Yeah, I can see
Definitely.
that happening.
Christian, you were, I think we sort of crossed wires there.
I was going to say that I think that with anything, this is like, as Moshe mentioned, this is going to take some time for people to get used to, to using Facebook like this on a consistent basis. There's only so much time in the day for somebody to watch videos. So, are they going to be able to, are they going to watch it on Facebook? Are they going to choose to watch it on YouTube? Are they going to watch it on Netflix? And I say Netflix because Netflix, they have a lot of content they're producing. So,
that's right.
I think that it's going to be a decision for somebody. But I think that, it's easy to get started. And it's about, if you're an existing user on, say, YouTube, it's going to, it will be hard, I think, to move your audience over. But, I think you'll determine wherever that place needs to be, where you put people, do you go to, or do you simulcast, like do you go to, Facebook and YouTube at the same time? That is an opportunity as well. So I think it's a good start, at least.
It is.
For people looking to monetize their live video, finally.
Excellent. So let's move on. I think we beat that one up pretty good. This comes from Instagram Business Blog. This came out last week. Bringing carousel ads to Instagram stories. And evidently, Christian and Moshe discussed this while I was absent one night. They came up, or they saw this, predicted this future, and now it has occurred. So last week, Instagram announced they're introducing carousel ads for Instagram stories, allowing advertisers to have up to 3 pieces of media per stories ad. Before, it was just one item. Since launching Instagram stories, they've seen the community flex its creativity in ways that delighted them. From face filters to super zoom to GIF stickers, stories has completely changed the way people share and express themselves on Instagram. And businesses are embracing that creativity too. For example, a luxury shoe retailer recently encouraged shoppers to hold and pause on their favorite pair as the brand flashed through its new line. Carousel ads for Instagram stories behave the same way as other stories content, meaning you can tap through, swipe back and forth, or pause the content whenever you like. Now, with 2 additional pieces of media, advertisers can add depth to their storytelling in the same way the community does today. Already, Gap is tapping into the carousel ads for Instagram stories to incorporate native elements like pinning and drawing tools, and using the additional space to highlight more of their campaign. That's essentially it. I have to tell you, I have not seen an ad show up in my Instagram. Of course, I am not a huge Instagram stories watcher, so I have not yet witnessed this. So Moshe, have you witnessed this? Have you noticed this happen? Have you seen any of their carousel ads?
Not me either. I'm more of a Snapchat guy, to be honest, but it's definitely, it opens up a sea of opportunity for for an ad space like that to get people to actually swipe back and forth. I thought, when I first initially saw this, I'm like, okay, you'll just be able to tap, you lose your place in the ad. Like if there is like some creative storytelling, maybe like the person's kind of pulling at the screen, encouraging you to, swipe left, or, now you've got 3 images broken up, to kind of give a granular, how do I say this? Like a more bigger space to kind of interact with, like if it's a scavenger hunt of some sort. I think there's really big potential for this ad format, and I think it really changed how we advertise on mobile. The thing is like, again, I have to see people really push it with these kind of ideas, but otherwise we're just kind of be stuck with the same bland 3-piece advertising that we usually see.
That we normally see. So it'd be, I certainly hope, certainly the ads on Snapchat, in my experience with story ads, have been, that they are not particularly engaging. So I'm hoping that that these carousel ads on Instagram will make the ads more engaging. Christian, what are your thoughts on this?
I think that this is a smart way for Instagram to really get into, a creative way to do some advertising. If you do this right, I think that it can work very well with your content. I think at the same time, I do kind of wish, honestly, that they would come up with some new like ad formats. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm glad. Like, I like the fact that businesses will have different, types of tools that they can use. As you can see, ads are actually getting to be very different types of ads. Mm-hmm. It's not just the standard like, hey, here's my image, here's my headline, here's my description. This is a creative, interactive ad, and I like the direction we're going here for businesses. But I do wish that they would come up with some different ways to advertise, because I think people are getting tired of like our attention spans are so short. They want to watch the content they want to watch. They don't want to have to skip through a bunch of ads, and that you're going to be in a way probably forced to watch ads if you want to for instance watch somebody's stories. And this is essentially, it sets up a roadblock of sorts, which, I think, it's a good thing for a business because, or if I'm an advertiser, it's a good thing for me. But you also have to look at the public, does the public actually want to watch ads? I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. And that's why go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say it would be kind of interesting if they incorporated a 360 ad into their phones. I know way back when Facebook had this product called Facebook Paper. And if you wanted to kind of see a landscape photo, what you would do is you would turn your phone side to side, and it'll actually use your phone gyroscope to look wherever the picture you wanted to do that. So if that was a format, then you can actually interact with your phone and look around the area, use whatever direction you want to explore that a little bit more, not just having to click and swipe. Maybe if they start conditioning people with this carousel ad into, start interacting with your ads more than just passively consume it, then we might see them kind of bring those capabilities back. It's not just I don't think it's a matter of if they can make it happen, but more of will they make it happen? And that I think will really take Instagram advertising to the next level.
It's definitely, I think, you're into the advertising piece now, Moshe. I really would like to see the brands get more creative with actually telling stories rather than buying ad space. I think we've discussed this multiple times, Christian. And the same thing on Snapchat, Moshe, that I think a friend of mine, Chris Behrman, one of our former guests, had brought up, Chris Bear, that if they would really spend more time buying lenses and letting people really use the company's lens more in an engaged fashion. I think that would be a lot more fun for the users and a lot more beneficial to the advertisers, but they seem to want to go back to the standard, let's buy ad space. So we'll see where they go with that. Christian, any last thoughts on this one? Did we lose Christian?
We might have.
We might have. Okay, so let's
Well,
move on.
I got something that can fill up a little bit of time. If we're going to look at the future of carousel ads, there's actually a profile I follow at the moment, and I encourage everyone to check this out. The person's name is Pablo Roche, and he's one of these Instagram influencers that's kind of partnering up with Create Content, really getting you to click on his stories, interact with them a little bit more. I think these kind of people are going to be the biggest content creators moving forward for this kind of format. If you want to see where the future is going, I highly recommend you checking him out. Here's like a little profile of him of how he looks like, but I can definitely link it in the chat later.
Yeah, please put something in the Facebook chat there, and we'll move on to the next story. And Christian will be back when he comes back. And what was the guy's name again?
His name is Pablo Roche.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely an interesting last name, but
it is very interesting.
It'll be a good one.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So the next story, and this is just a kind of a brief story, but one that some in our Legal Minds group are really edging towards using Instagram. So this would be probably beneficial to them. This also came out last week from Instagram Press. Today we're introducing type mode in stories, a new way to share anything that's on your mind with creative text styles and backgrounds. No photo or video required. So now you can turn your most random thoughts into something colorful and expressive. When you open the camera, you'll see type next to the normal button under the record button. Tap type and write whatever comes to mind. Your favorite lyrics, a silly thought, or a random idea, and play with different styles to change the look and feel. Then you can pick a different background colors, highlight words, phrases, or add a background photo. You can also use new styles when adding text to any photo or video. And like everything else you share to stories, it'll disappear after 24 hours. I tested this out before we went live, and I think it works just fine. I thought this was an capability that Instagram had long ago. Moshe, what are your thoughts on this?
It was definitely something that the Facebook camera had, but not Instagram. I know now that kind of Facebook stories has fizzled out. They're starting to replace it with Instagram stories being cross-posted onto Facebook, which is honestly the move they should have done in the first place. So yeah, just basically repurposing that feature for an audience that already makes creative stuff. That totally makes sense. Funny enough, one of the styles kind of copies the Supreme logo style. If you're big into fashion, so I noticed a lot of people express themselves now. This is a great addition for content creators. But I definitely think this move is more for Facebook, not just for Instagram itself. Again, just because you can cross post to Facebook stories, and it also is going to make sense in the long run, because I know that Instagram has been it's been rumored, but it's toying with a feature where you can actually reshare other people's stories. So you being more creative is actually an incentive now,
which is great.
Right, and it's going to be great for businesses moving forward. I mean, still early talks. I've seen barely any news about it, but definitely.
One of the things that I've liked doing through Snapchat, who's always had the ability to type, it can be nice when you can. I've seen our friend Joe Wilson has oftentimes done stories just in type. Type-based stories. Sometimes it's fun to do a story where you're doing some video, then some text, video, text, something like that. You can really do some more engaging things with this. So I'm a little surprised that it took Instagram this long to get this kind of this type ability.
It's more of like a copywriting style, maybe get people to kind of get used to being more storytellers and not just, passively taking photo video. It's a weird move though, like if your Instagram is so focused on getting people to take photo and video, and you can't really do that on your own feed, like what is it really gaining here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if it was just straight blank type, I get it. I mean, if you're just adding a couple new fonts, maybe that's how they should have really marketed. But definitely encourage anyone to jump on this feature as soon as possible.
Yeah, Christian, what are your thoughts on the Instagram type? Have you tested it yet?
So I think that the type feature from a business perspective, I think that if people have a hard time finding what to talk about on camera, or they don't like to be on camera, this could be a very good way for you to publish content to your stories to keep people updated. I think at the same time, the couple ways I could see this being useful, you could take, like, for instance, maybe you take quotes or certain, phrases or whatever. You could always drop something like that in. They've got some features where they'll let you highlight certain words. Of like, say, a quote or something like that. Like, so I think that this is a good way for you to make some animated video of sorts in your stories, or to mix it up between what you're currently doing, because sometimes people, they have those days where they're like, hey, I just don't want to be on camera. So this is a good way for you to keep those things updated, but at the same time, to still like have, have like a way to keep your audience engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think at the same time, this, Moshe, you just mentioned something I thought that was really, interesting, which was, it seems a little weird, I guess, to kind of do this. I think that, this does make me wonder, like, if people, for instance, are putting a lot of this content in their Instagram feed. So, for example, if I go, I see a lot of people on Instagram putting, quote images, or, very nicely done quote images into their updates. It makes me wonder, well, what's kind of the point of the feed versus the story here? Because if I publish my stories, will that eventually overtake maybe like your standard updates in your feed, to where, because everybody's pushing towards stories, they want you to do stories. It does make me wonder if that's kind of the direction they're trending here, because essentially Instagram and Facebook are, if you could say this, I mean, they're essentially the same thing, the same platform. Except on Instagram, you just get a lot less real estate. So therefore, you have to be very selective about what you publish. So it does make me wonder if maybe that's the direction they're trending, to keep that differentiation between Instagram and Facebook.
And I guess we'll have to see where they kind of take it from there, if they're just giving, creators more tools. But it's a nice update, like for someone who doesn't really use Instagram that much, I might go back and, just toy around with these.
Yeah, it's an interesting change here, and it's funny. I use Instagram and Snapchat both for totally different reasons, and I don't watch stories on Instagram. Melissa in the comments said she just wish it was made a little simpler. Wish it was Instagram and Facebook linked into one. Now we have seen that on the back end in the advertising setup, where you can now manage it all from your Facebook account. And Christian, we've thought for a long time that they were headed into kind of a full integration. I don't know that we're seeing that still, but there are, as Moshe just pointed out, you can now push your Instagram story over to Facebook, because it doesn't seem that many people, certainly hardly anybody outside of social media marketing folks, have been using the Facebook stories. And I don't even know if Messenger stories is still a thing.
I think they got rid of that, actually. I think it was, they might have made an announcement, but I know it's completely gone from my feed.
Interesting.
Facebook and Messenger stories have been a colossal failure.
Yeah, a colossal failure.
Well, so what they do have still, though, is you could be, or at least it was here a couple of days ago. Let me actually check something. You could actually, that's interesting. It's not there. You could add stories within Messenger to your regular, like, Facebook stories.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, they should have definitely focused on moving everything towards Facebook stories, like allowing you to reshare from other platforms, but trying to break it up into like 3 individual products that you need to update. Your users are not conditioned to do that. Realistically, we're here to digest content, not really create it.
Right. So let's move on to our last story for the night, and then Christian will give us some tools. Snapchat opens an in-app shopping section with Snap Store. This came out a week ago. This is from Marketing Land. Snap is going to sell people physical goods again after the boom then bust of its video recording sunglasses spectacles. But instead of making people line up in random places, the camera company will set up shop within its flagship mobile app. On Thursday, Snapchat, so this was last Thursday, Snapchat opened Snap Store, a section within its app for people to buy Snapchat merchandise, such as hats, sweatshirts, and stuffed animal version of its dancing hot dog lens. It's unclear how long the current product line will be available for sale, but according to the Snap Store, new products will appear. It's supposed to appear today, which is funny. And it looks like it's going to be Snap-only merchandise. There's not a lot more that I think I need to read here. Both Moshe and I were having difficulty finding the I don't see the Snap Store in my app today. I tested before we went live, and I do not find it. Moshe, you said you had seen it at one time?
Yeah, it was a Snap code that you on their website, or some people might have shared it, that once you scan it, it will open up their store. I think it will be in the new Discover section if you have the new user interface update. But it's been a really good launch, if you ask me. Like, as a consumer, I definitely love that it's just an easy way to pay and get your goods. And for Snapchat, it's it's an amazing way to test how people are purchasing items, how they're going to discover it. Like, as basically you have an entire store contained in a code. Like, you can proliferate it as much as you want. And this would be great for partners in discovery who want to open up their own stores. If this opens up a whole another e-commerce section for Snapchat. And I think what they're going to do in the next couple of weeks is really test the purchase behavior of people. Like, for example, right now, I know they refresh every week. They have a couple new items, like hot dog keychain, a plushie, and yeah, it's a fun way to purchase online. If I was to chalk this up to Instagram, or like what Facebook tries to do with selling items, this is fun and easy, and it doesn't take that much to set up. Like, in fact, someone on Twitter said that this was all set up through Shopify. You can just easily set up your items, list them on Shopify, and integrate them into a Snap Store. So once this kind of opens up as an ad unit, or anything that businesses can list their own stores, I think we can see a lot of potential. It's just a matter of basically word of mouth.
Yeah, and Joanne in the comments is saying the Snap Store is in the Discover section, so I'm scrolling through it while we're talking, and I am not finding it. So I'm still trying to figure it out, Joanne.
Do you have the new update? Because I actually see it on mine. Let's see, it's that one right there.
So actually, if you guys go in the comments, you can scan the code that I put a link to.
Perfect.
Actually, let me know if it's not there. Let me know. Yeah, actually, there's about the third comment down. You can actually scan it. I just opened it, actually. So you can get the plushie. Let me see what else you can get here. Yeah, you got the plushie for like $9.99. It makes it super easy to actually buy. It's actually pretty cool. So you basically swipe up. What'll happen is once you swipe up, it'll then give you a product you can buy. You can add it to a bag. You've got the product description, the product details. I mean, I realize this. Here's the thing. I realize this is only for, here you go. Let's see if I can show you guys this. So this is essentially what we got here. Pretty cool, actually. So I realize this is only for Snapchat products right now, but I think that this could be a really smart way to monetize things. One thing I find so funny about this is it's QR code based, and QR codes didn't catch on. And somehow they're kind of like, somehow they're making a resurgence here. People don't use it. People don't understand QR codes, but they're so easy. I mean, you basically create a code, somebody scans it, and it takes you to something. It's less friction. So with the Snap code here, I could see, as Moshe mentioned here, I mean, have your, right now it's only available for Snapchat products, but I could see Snapchat making this a monetization channel to actually bring people to Snapchat. In this case, they're only going to Snapchat to buy, but it'd be great if I could, essentially just have this. This could be Snapchat's move to basically steal some thunder from Facebook, because hey, nobody shops on Facebook really.
It could be an ad unit just as easily. I'm thinking if it's not a full-fledged store, if you put it in an advertiser's Discover channel, right? And they say swipe up to shop, and like whatever item was featured in said story, boom, one click away, you can add to your bag, check out, or even like once you're done consuming a Discover store, you can go, shop at a store, kind of like, if you go through a museum. I would love to see it, open up to regular advertisers, because I think that will be really next level. One quick purchase.
I have to ask you, Moshe, do you use the Discover section? Do you spend much time over there on Snapchat?
I haven't really used the new Discover section as the new user interface, but I have a feeling this is why they kind of made the Discover channel for, like why they designed it this way. Now it's starting to kind of come together. I get to consume my friends' content, but at the same time, it's a seamless integration into other publishers instead of like, making it a really jarring transition. Yeah. I think that was the biggest problem that Snap had with the first version of the UIs. You had your friends, you knew exactly what content you wanted to consume at every single time. You weren't really encouraged to see what other people were doing. You weren't really encouraged to look at other Discover channels. It was a whole separate click. Now that they kind of all seamlessly blend together, they're trying to reteach users that it's okay to kind of explore out of your own bubble. And if that test works, as much as people hate it, as much as people, will rebel against it, then there's going to be a lot of potential for, your friends to get more views, your, Discover partners, and the store if it takes off.
Good points. Christian, it's that time for some tools. We got about 8 minutes here. Can you knock out 2 tools for us?
Let's do some tools. Yes, I can. So I want to talk about tool number 1. It's called Birdsong Analytics. So Moshe, I don't know if you've actually used this, but I figured, in the work you do, you might have actually used this before. So Birdsong Analytics. And wow, sorry about that really big font there. That's interesting. I guess it automatically resizes the font based on the presentation. So tool 1, Birdsong Analytics. This is a very, 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 the bottom line is it's a reporting tool. It's for, essentially it was for essentially YouTube to start, but they moved into letting you quickly run reports for Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. So, this is a paid tool, unfortunately, but it's typically mainly geared towards businesses that, they want to save time with reporting. They want to get the reports done, but they don't want to, have to like go manually run them themselves and, then try to figure out, try to extract all the data from that. So Birdsong Analytics, right now, it's for any public channel. You could go on, you can see 30 key metrics, essentially, for instance, for YouTube. You can get what they call micro reports. And then you can pay for more advanced, there's like $6, I think. And then you can pay for more advanced reports with your, let me pull this up actually. So you can pay for more advanced reports if you need those as well. But what's great about this, is I think really the fact that it works for Facebook, for Twitter, for Instagram, for YouTube. You can export your Twitter followers. You can export your Instagram followers. You can also use this tool to then, delve a lot deeper into the channel that you're on, for instance, to help you learn more about the people that are your network, basically. So have you used this one before, Moshe, or do you have any?
I haven't, but it's very, very interesting that it uses YouTube's. A lot of people don't really look at follower reports from that, or try to really use that platform. And I guess as video kind of overtakes, this would be a great tool to use. I like that they actually show you when an account posts as well. So for me, when I'm kind of doing competitive analysis, I actually want to know what time of day for this account does the content really ring and perform well. So this is really good. I actually want to give this a try myself.
And it's I think $6 for microport goes up to $30, but I mean you could get some really good data from people on this. I mean, just looking at the part about exporting your Instagram followers, you can get their user ID, their username, their gender, their first name, their last name, their avatar URL. So that could be useful, for instance, if I need to quickly grab somebody's profile photo on Instagram to use, whether I need to put that, for instance, into a blog post or something. You can grab their biography, their total followers, their total number of posts if they're verified, their website URL. So there's a lot of really useful things you can do with this. You could quickly, for instance, export all your data and look at it and say, well, hey, let me put this into like Excel. Let me sort by, like the person's biography and find people that are using a certain keyword. And hey, now I have a subset of people that I can target. So that's just the user piece. I mean, and then you tap into actually the post and you've got a lot of opportunities there. So this is really cool.
Yeah, I like this.
So
what's our second tool for tonight?
Our second tool for tonight is actually called, we talked a lot about like stories, and stories are really, really important because that's the direction everybody's moving. Everybody wants you to be creating stories, but here's the biggest challenge with creating stories. People are tied to their mobile device. They're tied to their mobile device and they have to create it on their mobile device. But with this next app, it's called Story Slicer. It lets you create a long video and slice them into stories that you can then upload and share on your favorite social media channels. This way, you don't have to let me create one story, save it, upload. You create one long thing, you do it creatively, and then you can export it for stories. And this could be a really cool tool for being able to, for example, like if you want to get into creating custom video, Story Slicer could be a very, very useful tool for that. It's a $2 app.
I know, actually. That sounds like, for anyone who wants to do, editing on the go, and you just want to cut, you probably recorded a long video at a concert or something, you just want to upload it to Instagram, this is the tool that I would probably use moving forward. It's simple, it does the job, and the fact that it comes with the formats for 15 seconds, 20 seconds already makes it a winner in my book. You don't have to get complicated with editing, in your own photos. And I think that's the biggest little problem that people come across. If Instagram was to adopt this feature into their own app, that would be a game changer for any stories, really.
Yeah, I think Christian, the one thing you left, I think you said that both kind of said the biggest problem for stories is the editing. I think the one thing we need to remember is the biggest problem for stories is learning to tell a story. That is that's priority one. Editing it afterwards would be priority two, because there are a lot of stories on both Instagram and Snapchat that I'm looking at and going, what am I watching? Is this a story, or is this just random stuff put together? Random stuff put together can be a story if you have some sort of a theme that you're. But I got to tell you, with as big as all these platforms are going into stories, I'm tuning stories out a lot right now because they're not stories. So it's not entertaining me. It's not engaging me. And I think that is something that people need to look at when creating stories.
By the way, Nick, I do want to mention, going back to your point about telling stories. So you actually kind of have to look at this. If you're going to I want to take a video real quick. So let's say I create a long form video. Okay. I'm telling a story in that, whatever, it's a YouTube video. It could be, a 3-minute video. I'm telling a story in 3 minutes there. Right. And what this, essentially will let you do is, if you kind of think about it, I'm creating a story when I'm making this long form video. Well, how do I boil this down to where it's only 10 to 15 seconds, where I'm only pulling the best things out? That's where I think, if you kind of look at movies, we talked about this before. If you look at movies are essentially stories. It's just, a much longer form, and it's the same thing. What are you doing for 10 to 15 seconds? Take your day, record some things, and split that up into parts and pull just the best pieces out. Like Moshe mentioned, it could be a concert. Put that into you create what the theme is of your story, and share that with your audience, and just be mindful about hey, I don't want to share too much information, but I don't want to share, too little. Tune in. So.
Excellent, guys. Well, thank you, Moshe, for being here again with us tonight. And you can find Moshe at Moshe. I'm going to spell it out here on Twitter.
Thank you. And I appreciate you guys for having me back as well. It's always good to get other people's perspective on these features. You know, how we can really use them to their full potential.
You've always got great insights for us, Moshe. So I really appreciate you coming back. Christian, any last thoughts for everybody? You want to tell them about the blog post that'll be out tomorrow?
Yeah, we're gonna have a blog post recap. We got a couple more topics. We didn't talk about those tonight. They're mainly just updates. For instance, Snapchat adds some new features, which I think are very useful. You can also get all the links, the video recap, and everything in the blog post that will be going up tomorrow at socialchefs.com/blog. And then I just want to say next week we've got another returning guest. We've got Jessica Phillips coming on. She's with Now Marketing Group, but she's going to be our guest next week. But Moshe, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on this week. Love having you back because you always have a lot of insightful things to say. And you really, you do a great job. So thank you so much.
Great job. Yeah, thank you both.
Thank you, and I'll see you around.
Everybody for being here, Joanne, Bernard, Mitch, and Mo. We appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.